So I wanted to start off with helping you understand the courtroom, how the courtroom is set up, why it's set up that way. But first, let's cover why it's crucial to know your case before court. You need to know before court, which means once you are aware that I need to show up to court, then there are some things that you need to be doing, not just sitting there waiting for your court date to come. You're supposed to be an active participant in this process. So confidence is key. Walking in blind makes you vulnerable. When you understand your case, you're less likely to be railroaded, because when they know that you know what's going on, they're not going to ask certain questions, and they probably will postpone it, because the 6 questions that I'm going to give you, they don't want to answer them. Here's the caveat here. If they answer yes, that's a lawsuit. If they answer no, your case gets dismissed. So either way, you're going to come out ahead. Now, they're going to try to make you think that you can't, but you can get past that. If enough people can start learning about the consumer law and how they operate, that's when you can actually cut them off at the ankles, because they're walking with boldness because they know that you don't know. And so when you walk in there and you're looking like, you got headlights on like a deer with headlights, or however they say the statement, then they know, oh, yeah, here's another one. Here's a good one here. Oh, yeah, we got that one. He's a good one. That's what they're thinking, and you don't even know it. I don't care if you walk in there with an attorney. Wait till I tell you about that. Let's continue. Procedural traps. There are procedural traps, meaning courts operate by specific rules. Missing a deadline or say the wrong thing and you can lose on a technicality, which means they know the rules. You don't. That's why attorneys tell you, don't say anything. Do not say anything. If you say anything, I would like to speak with my attorney. That's it. Once you say that, they have to stop talking to you. And if they don't, they're violating your rights. You need to know what's a violation. And you don't need to tell them that it's a violation. They already know it's a violation. So you standing there yelling, you're violating my rights. They know it. They already know. Language is everything. The legal system speaks in codes and procedures. If you speak their language, you can assert your understanding. If you don't know their language, when in Rome, do as the Romans do. Speak as the Romans do. How they speak. Eat what they eat. That type of thing, right? When you go in court, there's a language that they're speaking that you have no idea about. But they speak it in such a way that you're thinking from the human flesh 3D version of you that the answer should be yes, when the answer should be no. Absolutely not. Commerce versus consumer. Most people enter court thinking they're there as the living soul, but the court may be treating them as a corporate entity or debtor. But the court is treating you as a corporate entity and debtor. Understand, the court is treating you and see you as a corporate entity and debtor, which changes everything. When you know the difference, you can ask the right questions. Are you addressing the living woman or the legal entity named in all caps? Is there a criminal matter under the Constitution or a civil commercial, or is this a civil or commercial dispute? When you start asking questions like that, because they know what they're operating in already, you don't know. And a lot of times, especially people of color, are scared to even ask a question. It's almost like they're on the block again, and they're scared to look up at master. They're scared to say, master, is this a criminal matter under the Constitution? You're scared. You don't have to be scared of master anymore. Fuck master. Let's continue. Let's start with the courtroom setup. When you walk into a courtroom, it may look like a place of justice, but it's really a setup like a commercial theater. Everything has a meaning, and every position in the room plays a role in this contract-based system. Remember, this is a contract-based system. That is why there are documents and papers that need to be signed. When you see all them signing the papers and sending it here and there's a system that they're doing. This is not just because, oh, they're making sure that she gets it and the paralegal gets it. No, they need to make sure that what they're doing lines up with what the commercial law says so that they can continue to fuel or fund their agenda. You need to understand what that means and everything that's going on once you walk in there. So the courtroom layout and symbolism is what I'm getting ready to give you. The judge sits on the bench wearing black robes, symbolic of a priest or banker, represents the administrator of the trust or court, not always the judge of law. They are operating for the court system, the commercial side of the law. The clerk handles the business and the money side of the case, often more powerful than people realize, because she's the one who knows what account to get it out of, who's paying what. People that are in prison, they are paying upwards to 175, probably more now, but it was at 175 about 5 years ago, for each person that's in there, plus, so that they're getting money from your Cestui account, from their Cestui account, which is the reason why. And you have a loved one that's in court, they can actually stop the flow of that money if they can sign the paper to become a sovereign citizen. Now, the reason why they'll stop you from doing that, because if you send it, the document to them, they'll try to offset it, because then that cuts their money off. But if you can get up there and visit them, or have them send you their signature, and you have a recording where they agree that they want you to go ahead and be their advocate to get them out of the system, you can have the paper sent to them, or you can pay someone to go up there, get an attorney to have someone go up there, have them sign the paper. That shuts their money off. Which is another thing that needs to be visited, because there are things that we can do, we're just not doing it because we don't understand that we have have the keys or the knowledge to accomplish that. The bailiff, the security or enforcer of the policy, the prosecutor or plaintiff attorney, represents a commercial party bringing the claim. The defendant's box, where you stand if you've been charged, keyword equals financial. Keyword equals financial. The box that you stand in, that is keyword for financial. So to them, that means you're the money. You're the money. The money stands right there. That's the focus. Flags, the American flag without the fringe is the constitutional court, to uphold constitutional court, constitutional law. American flag with the gold fringe is the Admiralty Maritime Commercial Jurisdiction. This is the most common today. Here's how the trap happens. The trap happens the moment you respond to your all caps name. Simple, plain and simple. You enter into a courtroom jurisdiction, which is also a commercial jurisdiction. The name is a legal fiction, a corporation created by the government. So instead of treating you as a consumer with natural rights, the court processes you like a contracting party in a financial dispute. Again, they're treating you as a contracting party in a financial dispute. You're being treated as a contracting party in a financial dispute. I told you early, contracts. They need the contracts. Those papers and stuff that's going around are contracts. Your contracts. That basically what they're saying to the federal government, because they have to go through the government to get the money, because it's a commercial entity, to get the money, that's your stuff they got saying that you signed and said, yes, we can get this money. You don't know what they putting on that thing. They might have told you 10,000, but they could do 100, 200. They could do whatever they want because they've been doing it. How consumer law and commercial law get intertwined. Now here's the tricky part. These two systems are intertwined. You might walk in thinking this is a consumer issue, such as, I got a traffic ticket, I'm being sued over a phone bill, but the moment the court processes your case, they turn it into a commercial matter. That means contracts, presumed consent, debt collection, and enforcement, not justice. Why? Because most courts today operate under statutory and commercial codes, not constitutional law. So if you don't challenge jurisdiction, they presume you agree to the commercial rules. That's why they say, do you understand the charges? If you say yes, you just entered into a contract. They need you to say yes to these questions. And if you don't say yes to the questions, here are the courtroom procedures, the 6 questions that you need to be asking when you go in there. If you have an attorney, have your attorney ask these 6 questions. Add them to the record. You'll find out way later. Let's keep going. So think of it like this. Consumer law is the outer layer. It's the story that brought you there. But commercial law is the courtroom's operating system. So if you don't know how the system runs, you're being played without knowing you're even in a game. And they know it. Simple questions. Here are some simple questions that you can just ask or have your attorney ask. You want it to be on the record. 1, are we on the record? I'll explain why later. You're going to ask these questions. Are we on the record? Ask, are we under statutory jurisdiction or common law? You're going to say, I'm here by special appearance to challenge jurisdiction, not to enter into contract. Demand to see the charging instrument. Ask the judge if they've taken an oath to the Constitution, because they did not take an oath to the Constitution. Look it up. Understand, you're not powerless. The courtroom is designed to assume you don't know who you are. But once you do, you stop playing the role of the corporate fiction and you start standing as the living woman or man that you are. That is when you step out of the trap and into your power. I'm going to wrap this part of the session up in terms of the courtroom procedures with a little story to help you understand better. This story is called The Story of the Name Game. How courtrooms trick you like a playground game. Once upon a time, there was a little boy named Malik. He was smart, curious, and always wanted to do the right thing. One day, Malik got a letter in the mail. It had his name on it, but something was strange. Instead of Malik Johnson, it said Malik Johnson in all cap letters. He thought, that's still me, I guess. The letter said he had to come to a big building with marble floors and a man in a black robe sitting up high like a king. It was called court. When Malik walked into court, he saw flags, big books, and people in suits. He thought he was there to tell the truth and to be treated fairly, just like in the superhero movies where justice always wins. But this court wasn't about superheroes. The man in the black robe, the judge, wasn't just a helper of truth. He was the referee in a secret money game. The judge asked, "Are you Malik Johnson?" Malik said, "Yes." And boom, just like that, he stepped into a trap. Because when he said yes to the all caps name, he wasn't saying, "I'm Malik the living boy." He was saying, "I agree to be Malik Johnson, the company, the legal person, the made up version of me you created at birth when you gave me a birth certificate." Now, the court could treat him like a business deal, not a boy, not a soul, not a person with feelings. They could, but they don't. They actually treat him like paperwork. Here's the secret. The court was really a business, not a place for truth and justice like he thought. The judge, he's like a banker. The clerk, she's keeping the money moving. The prosecutor, he's making sure the company, who is the state, gets paid. And the case is just a financial dispute about rules most people never agreed to. And the saddest part, most people, kids and grown-ups, never know this is happening. They walk in thinking it's about right and wrong, but it's about commerce and contracts. So what did Malik learn? He learned that before you say who you are, you need to know who they're asking for. He also learned that words matter. Silence is consent, and even a flag in the room with gold fringes means this isn't the America he learned about in school. Moral of the story, if you don't know the rules of a game, you'll always lose. But once you do, you stop being a piece on the board and you become the player. In the next video, I'll go over courtroom structure, the questions that they ask and what they really mean, and what you're supposed to be asking, what you're supposed to be saying. And then we'll also get to covering how to create your trial binder, the questions that you need to ask in court, or at least have your attorney or you can ask to make sure that it's added on the record for your case. Follow me, share this information, and join me in the next video. Talk soon.